What's going on, Tubes? This is your boy Will, Black Oni Wiggins, here to give you something really exciting. As you can see with your eyes, your special eyes, I have all these PC parts here just ready to be built. And for the longest time, I had them just waiting to be used. The problem was that I didn't have a case to put them in. Now, I could have just used any case, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make something that was beautiful. And so now we have the Corsair 570X case that just came in today. I'm so excited and so ready to do this. And so we're going to get this show on the road. We're going to start building this PC piece by piece, starting with the graphics card. We're going to take this apart. We're going to put the new thermal pads in that'll help with the heat dissipation. And then we'll put this power link bracket that helps with the cable management on the graphics card. Then we'll start putting everything else together. We're going to do this right on camera. We're also live streaming this entire process so that people at home can see it if they have not ever done this before. And I have never done this before, so this is going to be a really interesting and exciting video to share with you guys. So let's just get started.
Black Oni. So, the reason you're all here is to answer one simple but very important question. Is the process of building a PC worth it? And I'm going to tell you about the pros and cons of my experience. Your results may vary depending on how good you are at doing this kind of stuff in general. But here is what happened when I put this
Getting
together.
the case was a huge pain in the ass because Corsair decided it was necessary to lead people on, not tell people when their cases were going to be available. And I get it, I understand. Sometimes you don't know the answer to that. You don't know when the case is coming, and other times you do know. And so I bought the parts assuming that I was going to be able to start building very shortly, but that was not the case. I had to wait an additional month and a half, I believe, to start building, so that was a bit frustrating. Another frustrating aspect about this was the graphics card that I chose to go with it had some heat sink issues, but not necessarily in the case of like it was going to be a definite issue if I didn't do something about it. It was more, let me be precautionary and do something about it before it becomes a potential problem. So the thermal pads used on the FTW GTX 1080 were thinner than they should have been, considering how the heat was kind of dissipating throughout the card. There were a couple of online studies done about the card, and they concluded that the graphics card was heating up more than it should be under extreme loads. Most people know that you won't really be running under extreme loads, at least anytime soon. So this isn't really an issue, but it was something that I wanted to take care of right away, knowing that I had no idea what I was doing. So I went with it. I started building, and as you can see in the time lapse, I spent a considerable amount of time on the graphics card, taking it apart. Getting the wires to come apart was a huge pain in the ass just alone, and that process was nerve-wracking. It was terrifying. It was interesting in a way, but it took a really, really long time. Another thing that took a really long time was getting all the components into the case and maneuvering around that after I did that. So I didn't put some of the components on the case until I had put the motherboard inside the case. Most people suggest not doing that until you've put everything on the motherboard first and then putting the motherboard into the case. Another aspect of this that took a long time and was a total pain in the ass was getting the power supply unit in correctly and getting all the wires connected. I have large hands, and getting around this computer, going inside the case with these large hands, trying to get these wires connected was very challenging. Figuring out where some of these cables were supposed to go was challenging because they were labeled in a way that was different than what the instruction manual was even saying. And there was one cable that was actually missing for one of the additional hard drives that I had. So I had to go out and buy another SATA cable so that I can connect that to my computer. Another problem I had, which is probably unique to me, I don't know if everyone else has done it, was that I dropped a screw inside my computer before everything was put together all the way. So that was embarrassing, but it was also one of those things where it fell like right underneath where the CPU cooling unit was and where all the other components were, and it was really difficult to get out, but I finally got it out and I was really excited about that. A nerve-wracking experience was trying to turn the computer on for the first time and realizing that there was something not right with the way I had it configured, which was a little bit frustrating, but we got that figured out. Now, here's the kicker. Now, after all that, I spent a considerable amount of time updating the system and installing firmware, installing drivers, installing software. I had to install a driver to have the internet connect to my device, even with an Ethernet cable plugged in. I had to install drivers for everything, including the motherboard, including the mouse, including the keyboard, including the hard drives. I had to do so many different things, and on top of that, once I finally did get Windows up and running on the machine and most of the drivers I needed, including the CPU and GPU drivers, individually had to download all of them. In addition to that, I had to go in and update Windows around 5 to 6 times individually, going into Windows and saying update, update, update. It would restart, it would turn back on, and I'd have to go into settings and press update again, and it would do another update. Instead of doing one massive update like, I don't know, Mac OS does, I had to individually do each update. I was ready to throw the computer out the window at that point. Another problem that I had was, maybe it's more so a problem with the monitor / TV I'm using on that computer, but when I did connect my TV to the computer, it was cutting content off of the edges, so I couldn't actually see my start menu, I couldn't see anything. And I had to look online to find out why I can't resize the screen to what I need it to be. And it turned out I had to go inside the NVIDIA graphics software and change the settings on there to allow me to resize the screen. That is fucking insane. That is insane. You don't have to worry about that with consoles at all. You fucking plug the console in, you do a firmware update, you install the game, and you play. That's it. You don't have to worry about all that other shit. You might have to set up your online service if you haven't already done that, but that's it. So in terms of the negatives when it comes to building a PC, I can speak to volumes of what that experience is like, and it is not pretty. At least in my experience. I think my experience in terms of building the machine, after it was done and seeing the lights turn on for the first time, there's beautiful RGB lighting on the inside of it. You can set it to blue, green, white, red, yellow. I have it set to orange. I've got to say, it is beautiful once you do get it turned on. And it's just a huge headache if you aren't prepared to deal with that. In terms of the positives, there are plenty of positives when it comes to building a PC and playing on PC. And we'll talk about some of the obvious ones. You can upgrade it whenever there's new technology available. So you can, at any point, as long as you have the money, go get a new graphics card, go get a new CPU, go get a new power supply unit. It's all modular. You can edit and change each and every one of these aspects. You can put it in a different case down the road if you feel like there's another case that speaks to your specific aesthetics more so than the one that you originally got. PC games in general are usually cheaper on launch. You can go to G2A, which is a link in the description below to do so, to get discounted prices on games. You can go to Green Man Gaming as well to get discounted prices on new games. Steam always has huge Steam sales. You can get dozens of games for $10 collectively. Consoles have gotten really good about this as well. They've kind of seen what Steam has been doing, and they said, you know what, we're going to start having our own sales as well. So they've been excellent at that, but there's no denying the cost of PC gaming is so much lower over the long run in terms of playing online. You don't have to pay for a service to play online. both Microsoft and PlayStation have systems, and Nintendo very shortly have systems implemented that require you to have a subscription to play online. In terms of the gaming itself, games look gorgeous on PC. Gorgeous. Streaming on PC is a lot easier to do unless you have the game capture card that I have, which allows basically none of that latency that you would have to deal with when you're recording or streaming from console. The list is extensive in terms of the positives, and the fulfillment you get for building your first PC or building a PC in general is a great feeling. Another con, of course, is that building a PC, especially a high-end one, can be quite expensive. So you'll have to prepare yourself for that. It's time-consuming and expensive. So ultimately, you want to know, is it worth it? Depends on who you are. If you're the kind of person who thoroughly enjoys projects like this and you can't wait to get your hands on technology and start connecting wires and placing pieces on a motherboard, if all that sounds legit, sounds awesome to you, then yeah, it's totally worth it. Especially if you don't run into the issues that I ran into with the entire process, essentially. If you're someone, and I know a lot of people who are like this, who just want to come home, get on their console of choice, have their controller in their hand on the couch, and start playing, PC gaming probably isn't for you unless you buy an already made PC. There are so many benefits and disadvantages to each platform, but all in all, when it comes down to it, are you gaming or are you not gaming? There has never been a better time to game than now, than this day. We have access to so many titles and so many experiences and so many oftentimes life-changing gaming experiences. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that everyone should be gaming. Anyway, if you have any other questions, please let me know in the comment section down below, because that is what it's for. And as always, I will catch you on the next video. Game on, and Black Oni out.